In 2006, Uganda discovered oil reserves in the Albertine Graben, west of the capital Kampala. The reserves are estimated at 6.5 billion barrels. The population hopes that the new resource will accelerate economic growth, reduce poverty, and enable the country to reach its long-term goal of becoming an upper middle-income country.
When our country begins producing oil, expect good social services like good schools.
As a mother, I need all the facilities should be there, not to be referred to Kenya or to go outside, but it should be upgraded where a mother can deliver without being referred somewhere else.
But for all that to happen, the right systems and policies need to be in place to promote efficient utilization of the benefits from oil production. A new country economic memorandum has been prepared by the World Bank economists working in close cooperation with a team of Ugandan officials. The memorandum discusses the prospects of oil and mineral production in Uganda and uses the lessons of international experience to propose an agenda of policy and institutional reforms aimed at maximizing the positive impact of oil production and avoiding the resource curse seen with oil producers such as Nigeria and Angola. When production finally begins, the first challenge for Uganda will be how to handle the sudden rise in government revenue. Experts say the solution will lie in diversification.
Economic diversification will be very critical to harnessing the benefit that extractive will offer to Uganda. The report also said that this is possible. It's already happening in Uganda in terms of the output as well as in terms of the export of Uganda. As a matter of fact, the service sector is now the fastest growing sector of Uganda, and this sector is also representing about 50% of the GDP. The agriculture sector, which in general will fall into what we call the primary sector, is growing slowly, but we have seen, many signs, of diversification. I think it's important to mention that by the mid-80s, coffee was the most important export in Uganda, accounting for about 93% of export revenue of Uganda. But today, it only accounts for 33% of this export. And we have today, about 60 new products that constitute the export base of Uganda. So all of this together shows that there's already a drive, toward export diversification, which would be critical for Uganda to harness the benefit that will come from the extractive.
What we do know from evidence is that oil prices will go up and down. During the boom, countries tend to be rolled into public expenditure that is based on that boom. And when it falls, then they fall in trouble because they can't cut expenditure, they can't cut wages, because they have raised the wages, they can't all this. So what we need to do is to continue to ensure that the oil does not dominate our fiscal revenues and also exports.
The government has already embarked on a process of drafting and putting in place the necessary legislation, policies and institutions necessary to avoid a resource curse. One such example is the Public Finance Management Act.
It stipulates that Uganda cannot collateralize future oil revenues, and that's a very good thing because that could be a very large temptation.
Now that we are East Africa, now that South Sudan is joining us, and aware that we are land linked with Congo, because this oil is also across in Congo, can we now talk big and implement like we are doing the pipeline which is for the region?
Other than oil, Uganda is blessed with over 27 commercially viable mineral resources. The country economic memorandum urges the Ugandan government to continue and intensify ongoing efforts to attract foreign private investment in exploration and eventual production.
We need to add value to our minerals so that we don't export soil to the world as we used to do before.
Uganda's oil project has been affected by the turbulence in international prices, although it will remain viable if oil prices recover. Transparency, involvement of the civil society, and management of expectations will allow the use of oil revenues to reduce poverty and inequality.
Countries that are successful in harnessing natural resources are those that have diversified economies. But what does it take to diversify its economy? It takes three things. One is building strong institutions to capture and to manage rent effectively. Second is to adopt the right type of policies, precisely the type of macro policies that would avoid inflation and create the Dutch disease, what economists call the Dutch disease, which is an overvaluation of the exchange rate and inflation, but also micro policies, including sound public investment policies.
Implementation will be critical. Correct policy choices could result in prosperity, further economic diversification, and rapid sustainable human capital development. Meanwhile, incorrect choices would mean lower economic diversification, stagnation, and deterioration.